Greater Media Broadcast News.
Welcome to another edition of Greater Media Broadcast News. I'm Susie Shia, and here are some of the stories we're covering this week. An overhaul of the education system, the TEDx Navicine Conference, a Camden Amboy Railroad Memorial, this summer's beach revenues report, and a new Rutgers football segment by WCTC. New Jersey schools are at a turning point, whether local school officials like it or not. This year, new state laws are bringing sweeping changes to curriculums and the teacher evaluation system ahead of a new standardized test coming next school year. State official Christopher Surf said the overhaul is necessary to make sure that more children graduate from high school and are prepared for successful careers. Though some local administrators say the standards are being forced upon school districts too quickly, Surf says the changes were not an overnight decision. For more details about the curriculum changes, see your Greater Media newspaper today. And here's Mark Rosman with more headlines from this week's papers.
Representatives of Monmouth County appeared before the Borough Council in Freehold Borough last week to discuss a project which they would like to make along Route 537. As anyone who drives along the Route 537 corridor between Gravel Hill Road in Freehold Township and Route 33 Business in Freehold Borough knows, that can be a very tricky roadway at certain times of the day. And specifically, the intersection of Route 537 and Route 33 Business in Freehold Borough is one point that they are putting a lot of attention to. The Borough Council has been asked to support the county's plan to do some widening near that intersection, and that may require the acquisition of properties in Freehold Borough. The Borough Council is yet to come out with its position on this and expects to do so at an upcoming meeting. You will find that story in this week's edition of the News Transcript. In another story this week, the Monmouth County Library headquarters in Manalapan will be hosting a very special concert at 7:30 p.m. October 3rd. The Medieval Babes will be bringing their own unique spin on medieval music to the library at that time in a concert that will benefit ongoing restoration efforts here at the Jersey Shore in what will be the one-year anniversary of Superstorm Sandy. Check out the Monmouth County website online for more information about that concert on October 3rd.
The TEDx Navicine Conference brought big names and ideas to New Jersey this week. The sold-out event allowed the area's top minds to share their insights with more than 300 attendees. The lectures focused on the past, present, and future of the Garden State, ranging from sustainable gardens to New Jersey as the next Silicon Valley. Keith Hugh Miller has more details about the event and an international competition that is focused on rebuilding the Jersey Shore.
While TEDx Navicine featured renowned innovators, academics, and professionals from across the country, some of the most inspirational speakers came from right here in central New Jersey. Cindy Ziff, executive director of the Sandy Hook-based nonprofit Clean Ocean Action, spoke about the need to establish a clean ocean zone off the coast of New Jersey, and explained how everyday citizens have the power to take on massive, environmentally threatening industries and win. Robert Luckey, former head of research at Bell Labs in Homedale, explained how central New Jersey has lost thousands of technical jobs in the last decade, but its residents are still thirsty for innovation, jobs, and a new identity. Prior to TEDx, an equally vital public forum was held in Asbury Park last week, as world-class planning and design experts from across the globe began work on the federal government's Rebuild by Design competition. The competition features 10 teams representing nearly 150 professionals from as far away as the Netherlands, who are currently touring the region with an eye toward building stronger, smarter, and more resilient communities throughout the tri-state area. The winning designs will ultimately be funded and implemented beginning next year and could have an impact on everything from infrastructure to economics. In this week's Independent and Atlanticville newspapers, we speak to Hank Ovink, a Dutch government official currently administering the competition, and the number of area residents who think big changes are both possible and necessary.
The Camden Amboy Railroad was the first American railroad to use steam-powered locomotives, and its legacy was honored at a memorial dedication last weekend. Here's Tom Castles.
Flying down the turnpike at 80 miles an hour on the way to work or sitting mournfully in traffic in Route 1 on the way home makes it really easy to forget that the Garden State was once a much more serene and sparsely populated landscape. But its location between two of the New World's most massive and influential cities meant that New Jersey was fated to emerge as the swarming suburban home of nearly 9 million people that it has become. Much of that developmental transformation in Central Jersey was the byproduct of the Camden-Amboy Railroad, the first railroad in North America to transport a steam-powered locomotive. The railroad was chartered in 1830 and was named after its destination points, Camden and South Amboy. It made the trip from Philly to New York much faster. Before its maiden voyage, the trip could only be made by sailing down the Delaware River from Philly, around Cape May and up the eastern seaboard, taking the Delaware-Raritan Canal up to the Raritan Bay and sailing to New York, or hopping in your horse and buggy and playing a real-life version of the Oregon Trail. According to local historian Chuck Hager, the rail was a lifeline for the clay works and chemical plants in Sayreville and the iconic snuff mill in Helmetta, who used the rail to import and export products to market. As a result of that import and export, the local economy exploded, and so did the dense development that now typifies central New Jersey. To find out more about the Camden-Amboy Railroad, a little bit about its history and its impact in the local area, pick up the Sentinel today.
This week, Mike Pavlichko of Greater Media's WCTC will kick off a new segment on Rutgers football. After that, Tim Morris has the update on our local field hockey teams.
Hi, everybody. Mike Pavlichko here in the WCTC Sports Department talking about the Rutgers football team off to a 3-1 start as they head into a bye week. And I tell you what, couldn't ask for much more out of the non-conference schedule. 3-1, well, maybe one more win. But, you know, that overtime loss to Fresno State doesn't look so bad. The Bulldogs actually got in the top 25 this week. And, hey, Rutgers even got a vote. But the early season tells you nothing about a football team. Look at some of the games this past weekend. Louisville blowing out Florida International. Miami walloped Savannah State to the point where they played that game with a 12-minute fourth quarter. Those games tell you nothing. But here's what happens. Rutgers goes on the road now for the next two. Southern Methodist next weekend, then a Thursday night game at Louisville. Look, they ruined Rutgers' BCS hopes last year when Teddy Bridgewater came off the bench hurt. He's a Heisman hopeful this season. The road to the BCS for Rutgers goes through Louisville in a couple of weeks and Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. That, my friends, is when we will know something about what we have with Rutgers football in 2013. I'm Mike Pavlichko.
Two of the state's most successful field hockey programs just happen to be neighbors. Crosstown rivals Freehold Borough and Freehold Township High Schools both have the championship hardware to make their case. Last week, the two teams played their annual regular season game, and to no one's surprise, both entered the meeting in Freehold Borough undefeated. As you expect, when two very competitive, elite teams play each other, a lot of pride was on the line. The respect is mutual, the skill level high, and the game itself well played. Action was fast and end-to-end as each side looked for any opening it could exploit in the other's defense. In this sequence, Freehold Township kept the Colonials off the scoreboard, and the score tied at 1-1. Haley Mead would break the tie, though, with the scorching backhander that proved to be the game winner in the Colonials' 4-1 triumph. Jessica Pianco would extend the Colonial lead to 3-1, scoring on this penalty corner. This is Tim Morris for Greater Media Newspapers.
For more updates on the Rutgers football team from WCTC, tune into our broadcast next week. And here's a roundup of headlines from this week's papers. Residents of one Middlesex County town are expressing surprise after learning that their local YMCA has closed its doors. The South Brunswick Family YMCA shut down after 15 years in operation on September 20th, just one day after notifying its members. The organization said declines in membership and donations over the past years led to the closing. As part of Greater Media Newspaper's ongoing coverage, the sentence for former Middlesex County Sheriff Joseph Picuzzo has been announced. He will serve 9 years in jail after being accused of running a Jobs for Cash scheme during his 3-decade tenure. Seabright and Long Branch beaches took a dip in revenues this summer, but officials are citing different reasons for the decline. Seabright administrators blame Superstorm Sandy, but some Long Branch and county officials say a rainy June was the main reason. And while the beaches lost around $100,000 in revenue, officials are still happy with the figures, considering the circumstances. The Red Bank community is mourning the loss of its police chief this week. Stephen G. McCarthy died on September 23rd after battling thyroid cancer. He was 50 years old and had served the police force for 27 years. Borough officials say McCarthy was an asset to the community. For more details about any of these headlines, pick up your Greater Media newspaper today. A Sayreville salon held a cut-a-thon fundraiser for cancer research. Here's Stella Morrison.
Families of 3 area children with cancer will receive $3,100 each from Isabella's Salon in Sayreville. The salon hosted a cut-a-thon September 22nd to help pay the medical costs for 2 families in South Amboy and 1 family in Old Bridge, who each have a child fighting the disease. The salon offered 50% off all haircuts to raise nearly $10,000. With Greater Media Newspapers, I'm Stella Morrison.
And here's Gloria Stravelli with an update on the local art scene.
Women Painting Women, a regional, national, and international movement, has become local. On September 26th, Gallery U in Westfield will celebrate its grand opening by presenting an exhibit of figurative work by 12 women artists as part of Women Painting Women, New Jersey. The Women Painting Women movement began as a blog in 2008 to explore the way in which contemporary women artists paint women as subjects. Inspired by the growing movement, a group of New Jersey artists decided to form Women Painting Women New Jersey to build community and visibility for women artists working in the Garden State. One of these local artists, Nancy France Vaz of Atlantic Highlands, joins 11 other contemporary figurative paintings in this exhibit, which is one of 7 exhibits that will run concurrently in the United States and the UK. Gallery U was formerly at 3 different locations, including in Red Bank, and consolidated this summer on South Avenue in Westfield, where the show will open Thursday and run for a month. You can see this exhibit in our newspapers and on our website. Remember to send us news of arts happenings in your community and support the arts. They add zest to your life.
A local actor who will appear next to Robert De Niro and The Family came to Freehold for a private screening. Nicole Antonucci has the story on John DeLeo.
18-year-old John DeLeo plays the son of Robert De Niro and Michelle Pfeiffer in his first leading role in the new movie, The Family. The Monmouth County native hosted a private screening for close family and friends at AMC Lowe's Movie Theater in Freehold on September 22nd. The Family, directed by Luke Benson, is a black comedy about a mob family that relocates to Normandy, France, in the Witness Protection Program. Now known as Blake Family, the Manzoni clan finds that fitting in can be a challenge as old habits die hard. DeLeo says working alongside some of Hollywood's heavy hitters is exciting, and he looks forward to continuing his studies at NYU. The celebration continued at La Agua Restaurante in Freehold, with co-stars Raymond Franza, John Freda, Anthony Desio, Ted Arcidi, and James Palumbo. To read more about DeLeo's acting career, visit gmnews.com.
For more in-depth coverage and additional stories, see your Greater Media newspaper today. This is Susie Shia. Thanks for tuning in.